Well, this was unexpected. I I hoped something like this would happen, but I wasn't sure that it would. I was just listening to JavaScript Israel meetup, and Mishko Hevery was talking about Qwik on it. And at the very end, they almost closed the stream, or they almost shut off the whatever it was, the recording. And then somebody had a comment. It wasn't even a question, I don't think. They just had a comment at the very end, and it would be cool if we could combine SolidJS and Qwik, something like that. It was at the 55-minute mark. You could go listen to it if you want. And Mishko basically said, what we care about is the lazy loading and the splitting your code into tiny chunks and that whole aspect. And that makes sense. That's what they talk about all the time. And this reactive API that they have, it's sort of just something they have to have. And he said, yeah, we actually wanted to have something like React because it was easy. But he's been talking with Ryan Carniato a lot, apparently, and they're thinking about ways they could combine SolidJS and Qwik, if I heard correctly. And I listened to it a couple times and wasn't exactly sure what he was saying, but he said that, I'll show you, this reactive thing that they worked on, they don't care that much about this. And the thing is, I care a lot about this. And so they might swap this out. He said that something like SolidJS's reactivity is more, it fits Qwik better than what Qwik came up with, which is crazy. To me, it sounds like it's pretty much certain that Qwik is going to have a new way of doing reactivity. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that there is going to be something here. So I wanted to look at SolidJS soon. I still have questions about Qwik, but I wanted to look at SolidJS soon after I answered those questions. But now these questions are less important to me because I realized something while I was thinking about this. In my mind, there's kind of a huge distinction between React's reactivity and SolidJS's reactivity, and RxJS being more on the SolidJS side, where with React, you got the function that's re-rendering all the time. And with Solid, you have these tiny little primitives inside that are smart enough to know what needs to update. And the thing is, Qwik, the reason I was so confused when I was coming into this last time was that Qwik looks like it wants to do that fine-grained reactivity. It's got a store here. It's got the smart rendering where it will only render a component if it changed, if something up here changed from the store. And so sort of like actually in between the Qwik and Solid, or the React and Solid models of reactivity. And then I was thinking, wait, SolidJS, wait. So what if they aren't as weirdly, what if they're not as different or mutually weird, like coming from one to the other? What if there was a kind of unifying syntax actually that could take into account, that could work either way? Maybe you change something, so under the hood it doesn't work the same at all, but the API looks the same. Because if you look at this is a store, but it's semi-reactive. And then down here with these hooks, these reactive hooks, that's what I'm going to call these, reactive hooks. It looks like React hooks, but this is something like a reactive primitive, like it could be, if maybe. And then we just change the way the hook works underneath. So if you do, this microphone's in the way. If you do this is how I would do it, by the way. I would pass it as one thing. Just makes way more sense. This is the container, that's the property. But with Solid, this would just be the getter for the state. Okay? This is so cool. And it looks like React, but actually Solid, I realized, wait, Solid already does do it kind of like this. Like Solid has hooks, I think. I'm trying to remember. There is an online thing. I'll just find it and show you. Hang on. This is what I was looking at. Now I want to actually show it to you. So it transpiles React to Solid. Here we go. Here is the here it is, the actual demo. Okay, let me see. I'm gonna go paste. Here I'm gonna grab this from. And I forgot what this was part of, but I linked to it in one of my articles. Okay, so I'm gonna paste this here. Whoa. It's an extra line of code over here, so it looks like something changed, but what changed? Create signal. Look at that. You got use effect. Does SolidJS have use effect? Let me look at that. It's called create effect. So that may have failed. Let me go back here. Why is this use effect instead of create effect? Why? Wait. What? Okay, that's a function. Oh. Use effect? I'm so confused. Why is this? Oh, it is a function. I just pasted weird here. So, use effect. Shouldn't that just have renamed? Is this like a previous version or something? We got create signal, and then use effect. It doesn't matter. I just wanted the theoretical. Look at this. Look, you can do this. So, you know what this means? This means React or SolidJS can support both RxJS and reactive hooks. Both are possible. So I was thinking, like, I thought this was possible because that transpiler exists. But then I was thinking, like, that is awesome. I wonder. So if I theoretically, if I want to go back here, so to Qwik, if I wanted to create these reactive hooks for SolidJS, then whatever syntax they change to, it'll support it. Like reactive hooks, like they can support anything. So I should create a reactive hooks library. And then I was thinking even more about RxJS, because what if you could do this with RxJS 2? Because here's the thing. A lot of code is written in RxJS. And if you could drop in RxJS syntax and have it run efficiently, either in React or Angular or Svelte, that would be awesome. However, I was thinking again about Qwik, because RxJS can't be used in Qwik, can it? So why not? Why not? And it's because you can't serialize the reactive graph. That's what Mishko says. So, but you can serialize this? Well, yeah, something is weird. Because if you can serialize a solid-like syntax, I'm pretty sure you could serialize an RxJS syntax, but I don't think you need to. What I care about is this just declarative code. I don't care if this says delayed $sign and then there's a pipe. I don't care if it's that or if it's used delay. The fact that there's a line dedicated to that and it's self-contained, that is what I care about. But if I could create originally I wanted to use RxJS in Qwik.
Powering off.
Dang it. That's annoying. I don't know how loud that was, but anyway, I wanted to use RxJS in Qwik. But what I really wanted to do is use this, like declarative syntax. It's a little inconvenient that you have to do this, that I'd have to re-implement all of these, like every RxJS operator. That would be very inconvenient, actually. It'd be nice if I could just use RxJS. The thing about RxJS, though, like the one advantage that RxJS has is the subscription, like lazy subscription type stuff. And so I was thinking about how, like, where is the subscription in this? Where, like, even in RxJS, like this tells something to happen. It's happening because this code's running. It's easier to explain with React hooks. With React hooks, you can cancel requests, like HTTP requests, with a use effect. And then when the component's destroyed, use effect runs its cleanup function. And so it's the same as the async pipe if you want it to be. So that is not a problem at all. What about lazy subscription? What about creating a thing that you can, like a data, like an object that represents data that doesn't fetch the data until you subscribe to it later? What about that? And then I was like, oh yeah, that's just a custom hook. You just use the hook by saying use fetch users or use users or whatever. And then it will, like, the fact that your component is calling that function, it's like a subscription. You're using the hook, which means you're using that data. And another thing you can do is what React Query does. React Query has this option called enabled, and it's a Boolean. If it's disabled, it doesn't fetch anything. So there's that too. So if you have like a long stream and there's a debounce, you don't have to fetch something initially if you pass that enabled or disabled flag to it, or the enabled flag. So basically, everything is possible with this syntax. Everything is possible. And the annoying thing is just implementing it. But like it's possible, and that's amazing. So one other thing I thought of is how, when I was writing that article for React, I implemented something like 38 hooks or RxJS operators as hooks, and I realized, okay, this is actually really complicated. A lot of the operators are they have a lot of logic to them, like switch map, concat map, merge map, a bunch of different operators, and they convert one observable to another observable. And I realized that when I was trying to implement them, I was actually modifying the original, like the observable creator. So this use timer, I modified it a few times over in my React hook. So I'm just gonna look at it here, but yeah, I basically you have to manage. So you think of this as the inner observable. So delay is a better example because it's chaining off of something. And React, you're just passing a plain value in. Here you're passing in sort of something you can listen to. It's almost like an observable. With SolidJS syntax, it'd be like an actual reactive primitive thing. So signal, that's what they call it. Okay. But either way, it's a thing that you're passing in, and it's the equivalent thing to RxJS is an observable. This is count $, basically, is what this would be. And you do pipe. I'm just going to type it out, actually. So it'd be something like this. Const delayed equals count.pipe delay, just delay, count, and then it'd be like, no, you don't do that. Just do this, and underneath it, it will do that. So delay time is what it would actually be called, and you do like, I don't know, a second. So that would be like that. And with solid, I mean, with this doesn't even have to be this long. Like if it was one primitive, like in React, it'd be like this. So it's even slightly shorter than the equivalent syntax in ArcsJS. Of course it is, because you got to do this. So that's like boilerplate, kind of a tiny amount. And so that's how that looks. That would be semicolon. But anyway, so, but this is an operator, and this isn't an example of what I was talking about. But if it was switch map, where you have count, let's just say you have some weird data source like this, and you're going to fetch items for the count, that's going to return an observable. That's an inner observable. Okay. Let's call this timer. Okay. Because that is an example that I have. Timer is an observable creation function, and when you use it in the equivalent syntax over here, it's like you're passing in count as the first argument to timer. So what this means is, instead of chaining off of like this and having an inner observable, the switch map has to be implemented inside this. And so as an option, you would pass switch true. That's how you would do this. So there's this object full of options that will govern how this, you could do, let's see, switch. I don't know if you call it what the API will be like, but I'm going to call this mode maybe. And then you could do switch, or you could do concat or merge, maybe something like that. And basically that's like an inner observable right here. And it's just, you have to specify it like this. So, or it's just switch. Let's do switch. So actually it still ends up being less code probably, but then you're going to have other things like enabled, let's see, count less than 3, something like that. So your stream turns into a configuration object, basically. Still declarative. It's good. It's just going to be like a different way of implementing things. So I'm kind of, I'm fine with this, but I'm also interested in seeing, like, since this ended up being more versatile than I thought, what if the ArcsJS syntax could be that versatile? So here's what I want to try to do today. I'll do this in a separate video, I guess, because this can be just a short thing and I can just talk about what's possible. But what I want to try is I want to see if I can get ArcsJS syntax to take in well, I wonder if it's possible to use ArcsJS syntax on SolidJS primitives, signals, and also see if I could use it in React and have it render every single time, but then instead of an observable, it outputs a primitive, like a non-observable, just the value itself. So I'm gonna look into those two things. So what should I look into first? I don't know. Anyway, but this is where I'm thinking. Oh man, I really want a nice way to get declarative syntax, and I think it'd be awesome if the syntax was similar enough that you could easily convert from one to the other. So if I created something like this for Qwik, it would be, and then Qwik changed its reactive primitive, I could swap out these functions for the implementations that use the SolidJS reactive primitive signals. So instead of stores, I could use signals. Store is like overused. It's like a container of state. And that's like everything that isn't just the state itself. But anyway, so that would be cool if I could implement both. Yeah, so many things are possible with this. But how cool would that be, though? If Qwik replaced this primitive with signals and got the fastest delivery mechanism for code and the fastest runtime. How amazing would that be? That would be amazing. And I don't know what would happen. Would the SolidJS projects just merge with Qwik? Would Qwik merge with SolidJS? I don't know. I have no idea what they're planning. Maybe both become kind of replicas of each other in a bunch of ways and different in very slight ways. I don't know what will happen. But I think it's awesome what's possible with, honestly, both of these frameworks. And Ryan Carniato, he's going to bring serialization over to the solid side somehow. And yeah, it's just above my head, honestly, at this point. I don't know why ArcsJS can't be serialized, and I don't know why SolidJS signals can be, apparently. Yeah. And I don't know what this is exactly under the hood. Well, it's a proxy, but why can this be serialized? I don't know. So a lot of things I don't know. And I will learn more and more, but I'm really just focused on reactive syntax. That's what I care about. I like clean async code. So anyway, that's it for now. What should I do next? Well, I'm going to look at SolidJS. I'm going to get familiar with the basic syntax with SolidJS. Then I'm going to try to use some ArcsJS inside Solid. And then I'm going to make some hooks like this. And I'm going to see if I can make them work with observables as well. Maybe. And then I'm going to see if, observable operators are just kind of like this. Like it would just be the observable here, and then the function like that. This would be delay time, and you'd have the observable here, and then the argument for the operator right there. So they actually are pretty similar already, if you use it like that. So I'll look into that, and then I'll look into using ArcsJS syntax in React, but with use state under the hood and use effect. That'd be crazy. All right. See ya.